Okay,
There you go.
there you go. Got it.
See if you can't maximize.
I know, I'm trying to make this bigger, but oops, don't do that. Because this is off my website. So basically it's an overview. I just wanted to give everyone an idea, because I have the page. I could probably remove the pages and put them in something else. But
So you got those tools up on the right-hand side.
it
with the
says
3
more.
dots?
It says more.
You should go to those 3 dots, and I think there's maximize there. And on your actual.
It says
PowerPoint.
optimize for video clip.
I meant the 3 dots on the gates of light screen
Ah,
on the
Oh.
right. Yeah,
there's, okay,
should be
tools.
expand somewhere. Anybody help me? Let me see.
I'm a dummy.
Zoom, there it is, Zoom. Go to the plus next to the 100% and make it bigger. There you go.
You know, this is great. And then I just have to slide it
Look
over
at
to the
you.
left.
And then you can, yeah, I'll just.
And I
leave
can
it.
go, okay, I'm trying to slide.
You
Ooh,
should be able to maximize your screen up at the top too. Right there, yeah,
but then I wanna,
okay.
yeah, one sec. We can just be over this, because the only thing we're looking at is this.
Yeah,
Can
that looks
everybody
good.
see this? Okay, so basically, I'll sort of paraphrase this. The overview is basically, see. Well, I could just read it. What the heck? If I think this is cute though. If you love a good mystery, you'll love the tarot. If you love a good romance, the tarot is for you. As a deck of cards, the tarot are used for fortune telling. In casinos, the cards are used for poker and all those other fun games of chance. It's also likened to a book of initiation by mystics and occultists of old, and more recently along the same lines called the hero's journey. And if we all recall, a hero's journey is more recent in understanding how the tarot works. So heroes go through all these different stages, but most important, they're aware that there's a problem. So they need to solve that problem. And in our world, we all have problems. So this is actually relates to all of us. But the first obstacle that we all have to deal with is overcoming fear. And as we all know, when it comes to fear, it's, before there's change, there's chaos. So the tarot teaches you that when those moments of chaos come up and things don't look like they're working out right, or at least the way you planned, they have solutions for those problems. They have solutions for the chaos in your life. And they're all over the cards. Okay, so in here, I'll continue. The hero will eventually go through major changes entailing feelings of life and death, but eventually overcoming all the trials and adventures, the hero makes the changes necessary and gains mastery. Now you may have noticed this is Arjuna and Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita on that great chariot where they are standing in the middle of a field of battle, and all his friends are on one side and his relatives are on the other side, and it's a very difficult time, and that's the Bhagavad Gita. So the hero's journey is a popular theme, is as popular a theme in movies today as it was in the great religious texts of the past, such as the Bible, the Book of Thought, the Bhagavad Gita, and many others. The hero's journey demonstrates the initiations that each of us must go through on our return to our Creator and to realize our true inner self. The cards are also called keys. And the keys are used to unlock doors, and in our case, the locked doors in our heads, in our mind. We will be covering how to first know that there is a locked door up there, between our ears, how to locate the keys that fit our locks, and then how to turn the keys to open a door to another world within ourselves. Then we will learn how to step into that world and understand how to live there. And best of all, to live here more fully with greater peace and joy. Please be aware that what interests you may be quite different than what your friends, family, and others are looking for. This is a private undertaking, your personal hero's journey, not anyone else's. From the tarot deck, we will be using what is called the major arcana, or trumps, on this adventure. They are the picture cards of the deck. There are 78 cards in the full set of the tarot. The trump keys, 22 in all, relate to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Just as we universally use Latin and Greek in our sciences, the Hebrew language was chosen to be on the cards because each Hebrew letter is also a number and a word. This allowed for a great deal of information to be hidden in these picture cards, apparent only to those who understood their symbols and their use of color. And as we have probably heard a million times, a picture is worth 1,000 words. The story contained in the pictures is fundamentally identical with the wisdom taught in the secret schools of India, Tibet, and China. The idea of hiding this information in plain sight has been very successful. By using the 78 cards to tell fortunes and play games, the cards traveled around the world, their true meaning unknown to most. And of course, this allowed for the safe passage of the true initiates who used them in their spiritual studies on the path of return. Prior to the creation of the cards, the wisdom taught was carried word of mouth from teacher to student. The cards created a greater mobility of this sacred information. The tarot is also a great love story, the story of our creator, the breath of life, and its love for its creation. It is a story that teaches each of us how to truly love and therefore reap all benefits that life has to offer us. It is a story about understanding and wisdom and living, not as a philosophy, but as a reality in our everyday lives. So the tarot is to bring you in touch with your inner self and therefore understand the world around you. Anybody have any thoughts about this at this point? Any ideas or comments?
It was a great overview of like bringing it all together, because I don't think I've ever read that actually. And it really helped me to like, oh, I get it. So
yeah,
that was a great
I love this, the Bhagavad Gita, a fabulous book for understanding. I mean, he gets out there and he's with Krishna and he's going, excuse me, these are all my friends, my relatives. Why do I have to kill them? And he says, you're the great warrior. You have to kill them. And of course, this is an inner battle. He's not out there killing his teachers, or he's killing his concepts and all his presuppositions and all the little sort of mass mind that he's accumulated throughout his life that he's been taught. And Krishna says, you have to kill them all. And then Arjuna says, well, reveal yourself to me, and so I can understand. And he does, which completely, so Arjuna's like, that's enough. I can't handle anymore. That's good. I'll just hang in there and do it you say and have the experience. But the only way that you can grow in life is to have a life experience. So you actually do have to go through a bit of chaos to get your reward. So this gives you an idea that this has been around the block, so to speak, a long time. It has been taught in many different formats, but in essence, it's a gift to us. So, and this is usually what I have hanging behind me. which is to have, let's see, do a little plus. Oh, that doesn't work. It disappears. So that's a typical tarot tableau. And there you have the Fool at the top. The Fool is the closest to God that you can imagine. And just an overview, there is no responsibility in the Fool card because the Fool is one with creation. But there's responsibility in all and every single one of all the other cards. So if you think you've got responsibility going on, yeah, until you get back here, back home, yes, your life is full of responsibility. And those that avoid that responsibility, they probably have more face plants than you do. It's like, I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, do something different. But I like doing that. Couch potato is really nice. So the tarot teaches us through these cards, and there's different ways to see them. Like we have this one that Mother Ruth came up with, which is a little different. You see here you have the Fool at the right, and then you have these different columns, and he ends up at the world on the left. So there's a whole another way to teach this. There's different ways to teach this. So this is a fun one, but this is the one we're going to work with now, and that I will be talking about colors. And what did I come up with? We're going to go through an introduction on the symbols, the colors, planets, and zodiac signs for this particular class.
If you want to make it bigger, up at the top next to 58% is a plus right there.
I was making it bigger, but then the cards started to get lost. So
I see.
Yeah.
Can you stretch it out by pulling it on the side? Yeah, pull it.
I did, but it doesn't stretch it on the side. Yeah. Oh, there's that. And then but then I make it smaller so they'll fit in. But I'm going to move away from this, and we're going to go on to the symbols and colors that are in the tarot.
Could I ask the question?
Certainly.
Okay, so the 22 are the key cards. What are the other cards? Are they number cards or what? I've never seen the other card.
Okay, so what we were talking about, you've got the, there's 78 cards in all. So when you look at the Tree of Life, you have 10 circles. And you can see all the cards are wrapped on different paths on these circles. They're all your 22 keys, so they're paths. So each one of these circles, each one of these has different attributes to it. But when you get to the cards, all the other cards, I'm going to take that away. There are, let's go. There 78 cards are the full set. The trumps are 22. All the rest are ace through 10, kings, clubs, queens, jacks. So you have 4 suits. And
like a pinochle deck.
Yeah, well, every poker, every deck of cards are the rest of the deck.
Cool. So
those of us who live in Las Vegas, Douglas, you probably see these cards all the time.
5.
People are out there, yes. So it's really kind of neat.
6 times 4.
So let's move on. Let me move you guys over to the right, and I'm going to take us through the intro to symbols. So let's go up here. Let's see, a lot of people don't read the rest of this. There's the symbols. And I'll move us over here and let's scroll down. So the introduction to symbols, colors, planets, and zodiac signs. You would be surprised what's involved in a tarot deck. It's a lot. So we're just going to make this really simple. Don't try and memorize anything. Just kind of get a gist or a feeling for it. And just know that when we start to get into the symbols, we also get into the human body and the chakras. It's all, we present comments on all of this. So in order to read the tarot as a book, we need to get a handle on all the various images presented on the 22 trump cards. The cards are made up of various combinations of symbols, colors, characters, and where these items are placed on the cards. As in, like you see the sun on this one is in the upper right-hand corner. So that means it's behind him and it's coming from a particular direction. The cards are made up of various combinations. Okay. It's somewhat like learning a new language, but since most of the symbols and signs are fairly familiar, the task will turn out to be more like an adventure to see how they are used to get a particular point across on each card. So the combination of the symbols on the card and the beings on the card help you understand what it's trying to say. And this way, it doesn't matter what language you speak because they're the same symbols for every language. And I will mention something now, just to put in your little noodle. There are only 3 characters in the entire deck. There are only 3 characters in the story. There's superconscious mind or creation, the subconscious mind or the feminine, and the conscious mind, which is the masculine. So whenever you see a male or a female or a higher being, like an angel, you've got the 3 characters. So you're going to see them across the cards and how they interact. And it's going to teach you how to get a grip on your life, because when you came in and you were born, there wasn't a little card that says operating instructions. And you didn't necessarily get all the batteries. So that's what's good about this deck. It does provide all the information you'll need to get a grip on what's going on around you. But it is something of an adventure. So symbols are used like icons. They represent an idea or concept, which when clicked on, you will take take you to a place where that idea is developed and made useful. And when I wrote this, I wrote icons, but it would be more like links, or, you know, I think the terminology is progressed since that time. So symbols can be as simple as a circle, a line, or a dot, and as complicated as the image of a chalice, sword, or coin. Each represents a concept, and depending where it is placed on a card and what card it is used on, will reveal to you the message on the card. In future posts, we will be learning about the many symbols used so that when you come across one, it will become more clear to you what is being discussed on the card. So here you have the Hebrew letters. I will say, I have not memorized them. I'm not great with languages, but Hebrew is a wonderful language. And the reason they used Hebrew, and I'll tell you in the next paragraph, each trump card relates to one of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Just as Latin and Greek are universally used in the world of science, so are the letters of the Hebrew alphabet used to express various concepts and relationships on and between the cards. This is because each Hebrew letter is also a symbol for a word and a number. So every letter is also a number and is also a whole word. So try and write in that alphabet. I always thought that would have been great fun to learn, but I'm not great on languages. So color is a wonderful tool for getting a point across. When you are driving in your car, you continually use color to navigate yourself through traffic. Red lights, green lights, and those pesky yellow lights all are important to you. Stop signs are red, and don't cross those double yellow lines into oncoming traffic. The colors used in the tarot also have specific meanings. They were not chosen for their artistic values, but for interior meanings. There are approximately 11 plus colors used. For example, red is for action, blue for memory, and white for purity. I will provide you with a ready reference sheet of the colors. At some point, you may even wish to color your own deck of cards. I will discuss that in the future. I get a kick out of this because we use red as a stop sign. And yet in the occult mystical world, red is for action.
Yeah.
And that was something of a difficulty for me because I was in the Holy Order of Nuns for about a year and pretty much inside, did most of the sewing. And I went to a lecture and so I was at 910 Steiner in San Francisco and 20 Steiner was headquarters. So I had to walk like 8 blocks to get there. And I had to cross the street. The light turned red and I stepped out into traffic. Seriously. And got hit. Seriously. So you have to remember everything down here is backwards.
Yeah.
Is in reverse. So that's also something to think about and put in the back of your head that when you're talking to someone, sometimes they're saying the reverse of what they mean. And that I can talk about. That's a whole nother lesson. So nothing happened to me. It was very strange. For me, it was strange. The sister who tried to save my life, she got hit too, and she did have some problems, not serious, but I didn't have a scratch on me, even though I was thrown about 20 feet. Not a scratch, not a bruise, not a nothing. I picked myself up. The ambulance came. I said, well, I got hit too. This is very typical order. Yeah. I had my guardian angel overtime. They worked overtime with me. I was useless. So I just wanted to toss that in. You do have to remember the colors, but don't get too engrossed in red is for action and then run a light. Okay, the heavenly bodies that are placed on the cards are those that were known in the ancient times, totaling 7. They are Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon. Each planet is represented by a symbol. Each of these planetary symbols consists of a combination of only 3 symbols: the circle, the crescent or half moon, and the cross. And because each of these symbols had a distinct meaning to the ancients, it will make it easier to understand the message of each planet depending on how their symbol is constructed. Also, and we will get into that right away here, that's part of the introduction. Also, each planet has a distinct color, which further defines the meaning of the heavenly body. So this is lovely. The tarot also makes use of the 12 signs of the wheel of the zodiac. The zodiac corresponds to the 12 channels of life expression in the human body. In other words, each zodiac sign corresponds to a particular part of our body. This opens up a whole other dimension to understanding how the tarot affects us both physically and spiritually, depending upon how each zodiac sign is used in the cards. The zodiac is also divided into 4 sections representing the elements of fire, air, earth, and water. And fire, air, earth, and water are the 4 suits. And we'll talk about the 4 suits when we get to the magician card, which is card number 1. When you first pick, right before you're about to pick up all your tools and become the magician. So this book is about you. This is your hero's journey. You are the first card, the Fool, also known as the breath of life. At the beginning of your journey, there are only three characters in this book. Each character represents a state of consciousness, your consciousness. There is no such thing as being unconscious, except maybe if you've had too much to drink. But that isn't what is being discussed here. In fact, all forms of life, including minerals and plants, are at some level of consciousness. The 3 states of mind in this story are superconscious, self-conscious, and subconscious. As you learn to read this book, you will find out about how these levels of awareness and how to use them to your advantage to improve your everyday life and bring you to a place of peace and happiness with yourself your family, and your friends. So let's do a little detailed work. Does anybody have questions? Because we're still in overview mode. And now we're going to get a little more detailed. We're going to go to astrological symbolism. So let's see how we do this. The 7 planets and the 7 chakras. So this is going to be intriguing. Oh, and this picture up here on my site, this is Moses before God. He's got his hand out reach. This is a great painting. So
Wow.
he's like, show me the way. So each of the planets has a dominant center of influence in the physical body. These centers are called wheels or chakras by the Hindus. They correspond to 7 centers in the body. 2 are in the brain, here and here. 1 in the throat. These 3 correspond to the upper triangle in the sulfur symbol. The upright triangle symbolizes the cosmic fire. The other 4 are in the trunk of the body and roughly correspond to the cross in the sulfur symbol. The symbol for sulfur represents self-consciousness. In Hindu, sulfur is Rajas. And I will also mention, they also relate to the 3 symbols here, these 3 symbols. And all of creation comes from here to here to here and out through understanding, which is the feminine. Without the feminine, nothing would exist. And totally, you can have all these ideas and run up and down and think and whatever, but until you pass them through understanding through this, the subconscious mind, none of this exists. And Earth is way down here at the bottom. So we're learning how to create our lives. You are a co-creator with God. You just forgot your directions, and you will be reminded of them. And that's what the tarot does. It reminds you how powerful and wonderful and perfect you are. So fire and water and air with the merest touch of mineral substance. This is what we really are, no matter what we seem to be. These, our bodies, disguised as gross flesh and blood, are forms of living light. Every beat of our hearts, every inspiration and exhalation of our breath, every process of organic function is a work of sunlight stored in our body cells. Our brains change sunlight into thoughts. Applying yoga, alchemical practices, will bring about change in your blood chemistry. The upright triangle symbolizes the cosmic fire. The cross signifies the subdivisions of that fire into 4 states of matter, which are called fire, water, air, and earth by the ancients. The planetary forces are also active in many other parts of the human body. These 7 centers are the ones in which these influences are stored up, like electricity in a storage battery. It is upon this stored energy that we operate in the great work, which is disguised as a chemical operation upon metals in the Book of Alchemists. Remember too that the tarot deck of cards was created to disguise a study book for initiates of the great work. Those that are just intellectually curious or looking to be entertained won't see or even look behind the blinds. Those seeking freedom, this is for them. Oh, this is going to be fun doing the symbols. The symbols for the planets are composed of combinations of the circle, superconscious mind, the cross, self-conscious mind, and the crescent, subconscious mind. All of these symbols are used in the tarot. The brief explanation below will help you to understand the tarot keys a little better. The following is an overview of their meanings. Looking up the tarot keys assigned to each planet will provide you a further explanation. With meditation, even more will be revealed to you from within. The color symbolism used in the descriptions below is associated with each planet. The forms, technically known as wheels, chakras, or lotus flowers, are in the undeveloped person of dark colors and without movement, inert. In the clairvoyant, however, they are seen to be in motion and of luminous color. Our concern here is to get a basic understanding of the 7 centers and how they relate to the tarot teachings. So all of this has to do with how things relate. So the pineal body, this is interesting, a triangular or cone-shaped organ in the upper central part of the brain. Cone-shaped, makes me think of a pyramid. Occult teaching says that this is the center through which the vibrations of superconsciousness reach us. It receives the influence of the ray Mercury. The alchemical metal for Mercury is quicksilver, living silver. And I will say, when it says alchemical metal, they're not meaning an actual physical metal. They're talking actually about the chakras. So that was always very confusing during the Middle Ages when people were trying to create these metallic combinations, not realizing it was changing your mind to change and use your chakras, opening them up. And our chakras are fully functional. Reproduction is at the base of the spine and they move up, but you want to have your heart open before you open the ones up here to their full blessing, because you can get yourself in trouble. So the color associated with Mercury is yellow. The symbol for alchemical Mercury is a crescent above a circle, which is above a cross. It's identified with the Shasarara crown chakra in Hindu. The entire symbol means superconsciousness. The Sanskrit name for superconsciousness is sattva, literally meaning illumination material. The parts of the symbol are the crescent, symbolizing the subconsciousness, the feminine mind. Please note the feminine mind in this symbol, which is the symbol for superconsciousness, is at the top, not the circle. Interesting. So the parts of the symbol are the crescent, symbolizing the subconsciousness, feminine mind, the circle, superconscious mind, and the cross, self-conscious, masculine mind. The activity being expressed by the symbol is that in order to reach superconsciousness, that is, to get home, the subconscious mind must be exalted through the purified application and direction of the self-conscious mind. Mercury is assigned to key 1, the magician. So we've been through the last 2,000 years, everyone, the Piscean age, really great. And now we're coming up to the equalization of the male and female, the recognition. We were in the mode of recreating physically bodies, regenerating and evolving vehicles. And now, as we move into the next age, the Aquarian age, and to acquire this state, we have to exalt the subconscious mind. We have to understand what it is and why it has to be exalted. And that by the direction of the subconscious, self-conscious mind, the doer, as we call it, the person, the doer part of you. And all of these are found within one person. It's not the female has the subconscious mind or is the feminine. All of these are in your body. It's not the feminine or the female is not your mother, your sister, your daughter. It is that part within you. And same with the male. It's not your father, your uncle, your son. It's within you. So this discussion is about what's going on inside you and how to operate yourself. And because we are born in different vehicles that have a different orientation, that doesn't mean that's you. It just means you have to learn to balance yourself. And the tarot teaches you how to be in balance within your body. and how to exalt that which you've been given, that you're manifesting through a feminine body or you're manifesting through a masculine body, and understanding how to work with that and bring yourself into balance. 2, the pituitary body, or postnasal ganglion, lower in the brain, behind the nose. People talk about the third eye. This is a vehicle of ordinary telepathy and our channel of communication with the universal subconscious plane of vibration. It is a center of influence of the moon, the feminine. The action and reaction between these two centers, pineal and pituitary, is the basis of self-consciousness. For their vibrations affect the entire system of sensory and motor centers in other parts of the brain. The color associated with the moon is blue. The alchemical metal for the moon is silver. It's identified with the Agya, the third eye chakra in Hindu. The moon is assigned to key 2, high priestess. And I will mention here that the only symbol that has all 3 is Mercury, all 3 symbols. All the rest are in combinations of 1 or 2. So the 3, God help me. The pharyngeal plexus in the throat is the center of the emotional activities associated with the influence of Venus. It is identified with the thyroid gland. In Hindu, it is the Vishuddha, throat chakra. Its highest function is that which enables us to hear what is known in occult literature as the voice of silence. The color associated with Venus is emerald green. The alchemical metal for Venus is copper. So you're going to see a card here, wonderful card. Let's see if I can bring it over. This is the Empress, and there's all sorts of copper and green and wonderful things on this card. So that relates to this area of your body. The color associated with Venus is emerald green. The alchemical metal for Venus is copper. That's the color of her shield. The cross of self-consciousness is subordinate to the circle of superconsciousness. Venus is assigned to key 3, the Empress. And now we get to the cardiac plexus, number 4, near the heart. This is the seat of the solar influence. Astrologers understand that the sun is dominant in the heart. Physiologists call the next center the solar plexus, but it is not the seat of the solar influence. The alchemical metal of the sun is gold. The color associated with the sun is orange. That's intriguing. Many people think it's yellow. It is actually orange. In Hindu, this is Anahat, heart chakra. It is the solar ray which puts us in direct contact with the one life. The sun is assigned to key 19, the sun. So this is interesting. Now we have this circle, which is the feminine, and then we have the conscious mind. This is 5, solar plexus, or abdominal brain. Governs most of the vital functions of the body. It is under the influence of Jupiter. The alchemical metal for Jupiter is tin. The color associated with Jupiter is violet. The symbol of Jupiter shows the crescent is above the cross, and thus Jupiter represents the dominion of the self-consciousness by the subconscious mind. That's an interesting attribute. Jupiter rules reason and judgment, but the reasoning is always based on precedent. That's what this is symbolizing. In Hindu, this is a Manipurak, solar plexus chakra. Jupiter is assigned to key 10, wheel of fortune. Now we have 2 symbols again. 6, prostatic ganglion, below the navel, is dominant in the reproductive functions of the body, especially in the seed-making functions. It is influenced by Mars. It is in the sympathetic nervous system. The alchemical metal is iron. The color associated with Mars is red. In Hindu, it is the Sattvahistan, Sacrio chakra. The symbol shows a combination of super consciousness, there you got the circle, and self-consciousness, which would be a cross. So we got a little arrow going there. But with the self-consciousness in the ascendant, Mars puts us in contact with the great undifferentiated, oh God help me, differentiated life power, but deceives us with the belief that this power is our personal possession. Mars is assigned to key 16, the tower. So it's kind of off to the side. Interesting. So that's what that symbolizes, though. So these are all ancient symbols. Okay, the sacral plexus 7 is the lowest of the ganglia. It governs excretion and also the transmissive functions akin to excretion, which provide the life power with a succession of physical vehicles, generation after generation. This plexus is influenced by Saturn. The alchemical metal associated with Saturn is lead. The color is deep violet blue. In Hindu, it is the Muladhara base chakra. The symbol is a combination of the cross above this time and the crescent, with the crescent below. This is the ascendancy of pure reason over the race memory. Saturn is assigned to key 21, the world. So what you get from this is this, how the symbols are created and stylized have meaning, and they have meaning in the tarot. So when you see, it's a lot of information. So when you see these symbols on different cards, I actually created a spreadsheet on Excel so I could get my head around some of this. I shared that with Christy one time. She goes, it's 3 pages of this thing. But what happens is it starts to gel in your head after a while. And then when you look at a card and you start to learn about it, you get to understand what's being expressed by these symbols, which represent parts of your body, energy parts of your body, your chakras, which you're trying to inspire to open up more so you have use of them. Like, oh, I want to go over there and I think I'll leave my body here and I'll just go there. You do have these abilities. You just haven't been taught or reminded, because you all have it, everything. It's all there. But the tarot is great at opening up your eyes to that. And I think we have time, so let's look at the colors. That should go pretty quickly. So now this has to do when you color your cards. There is a reason for the colors you use on the cards, because what you are doing when you color the cards is getting them in front of you. Period. Getting them in front of you. And the other reason is when you color them, it starts to work on your subconscious mind. Now, I've only briefly introduced that the subconscious mind is one of the characters in the book, but the book will tell you how to work with that subconscious mind to create a wonderful and beautiful life. People call it prayer work. There is a scientific way to work with your mind and get it to deliver. And also you'll find out ways that you undermine yourself because you don't understand how it works. Okay, so in the mystical tradition, the tarot colors have specific meanings. The following is a simple listing of these colors and their correspondences to the planets. The 4 earthly elements, fire, air, earth, and war, and fire, air, earth, and water. The alchemical metals, which we've just mentioned, consciousness, and the energy centers or chakras of the human body. The alchemical metals of the Western mystical tradition correspond to the chakras of the yogis of the Eastern mystical tradition. Yes, you really don't need to go to India to receive the yogi teachings. Different terms for the same energy centers. The old stories about the transformation of base metals into gold is really the transformation of the human body, which is the temple of the self into a body of light. How this is accomplished is explained in the tarot. So we have red indicates action, courage, strength, and physical energy. It represents the element fire. Red is the nature of the planet Mars. It symbolizes alchemical sulfur, and in Hindu, the Rajas. It represents the conscious plane of mental activity. So I'm got the nerve center between the base of the spine and the navel. Orange, this is red plus yellow. It indicates positive energy and vitality and authority. Yeah, it symbolizes the sun. It symbolizes the sun with some Mercury influence. It stands for alchemical gold and corresponds to the Anahata chakra, cardiac plexus. Yellow indicates mental equilibrium and intellect. So you look at, there you have, let's just look at him. There you have the yellow, you have red, you have the little white dog, that's the intellect. You have brown, purple, white on the tips. So they all have meaning. Having red on the inside of his cloak, black on the outside, different symbols. He has right here in Hebrew, Yohe-Vahe, the tetragrammaton, which is the name of God. And he's about to step off a cliff, but he's looking up. So there's all kinds of goodies on this card, which we will get to. So let's see, green. This is blue and yellow combined. It is indicative of growth, increase, emotion, desire. Interesting, emotion, desire. One would think, okay, Venus, green, why isn't, we have Valentine's Day, everything's red, but love and desire is green. If you walk through a forest and it's green and it's lovely, you are in a world where all the plants are exhaling oxygen. So it's a great place to breathe because they're exhaling oxygen. They are transforming the light in the sky through their bodies and giving you oxygen. How nice is that? And it's green, so it relaxes you. That's why inner cities like to have little inner parks to get back in touch with the fact that we live from the sun. We're transformed by the sun. The food we eat, when you have a salad next time, just think all those plants transferred the sunlight and the earth into that plant, and you're now eating sunlight when you have a salad. Wow. So beautiful, absolutely lovely. So green, great color. It is alchemical copper, the Visuddhi chakra, a nerve center located in the throat. Blue, here we have represented water, memory, receptivity, reflection. That's the high priestess right here. All that blue, memory. And there's all these symbols on this card that are memory symbols. If you took a course in, what is it, mnemonics, where you study, how do I could use that course. How do you remember things? You use things that are alike, that replicate, patterns, all sorts of things. That's the card for that. Okay. See, I guess it's okay. I don't have it all behind me and I can't walk up and down in front of it, but it's working out okay. So let's see. The corresponding planets are the moon and Jupiter. Blue represents alchemical silver. It represents the Anjas chakra, a center in the brain, behind the nose, blue, called the pituitary gland. It represents the subconscious plane of mental activity. Yes, how powerful is that? The subconscious plane is really powerful. So indigo blue, blue violet, this color indicates the first matter before manifestation. It also symbolizes the akasha, a Sanskrit word meaning an etheric field in which past events are imprinted. The corresponding alchemical metal is lead. This is the traditional color of Saturn. It also represents the chakra Muladhara, identified with the sacral plexus at the base of the spine. Violet. The planet associated with violet is Jupiter. It is an indicator of spiritual power, truth. So you're going to look at this, and you're going to see all these violet mountains in the background. And then if you look at, oh, what did I do? I lost him. Whoops. Well, we may have lost him for this time. But if you look at the other cards, you're going to see in the background, you'll see mountains like here, a little hill with violet. You'll see violet here. So you'll find, I wonder if I did a small screen that he might show up again, but we're moving on. We have just a little to go. So it relates to the Manipura chakra or solar plexus. Violet represents alchemical tin. So then we have the remaining colors. Silver, this color represents the lunar currents and the moon. Gold, this color represents solar forces. White. White is used to represent purity in the primal light, pure spirit. Black, this is used to represent primal matter, the occult unknown, and the element earth. So black is what they call with the tree of life. Do you see how all of this is white here? Actually, it should be black. The Ansup ore is black. It is before the first light. It is the essence. The utter essence behind all, before creation. So that's the primal matter. Brown, this is used to represent earthly nature, and gray, a combination of white and black. It represents the union of opposites and wisdom. So if you go to, there's our little guy. Here we have the hermit, and he's wearing a gray robe. So he's wearing something that's a combination of black and white. So he represents wisdom. And there's this little character over here we call the deceiver, but he's got a little white goatee, and that means he's God. He's just well disguised. We'll have fun with that card. That's a great card.
Huh.
Yes, that little goatee gives the whole thing away. So letters on the card, we've pretty much covered those. Let's see what we've got. So the letters on the card, we have mother letters and double letters and the simple letters, which are 12. So I'm thinking we just have a few minutes, and I'm going to make a note where we left off, which is the letters. So, and let's look at symbolisms and the zodiac. So just to know, next week we'll do the symbols. We'll just go through the letters, the symbols, and the zodiac. And then we'll start the cards. Let's see, the letters are, those are the colors. These are the letters. The symbols are the circle, the triangle, and the square. We have a cross, the crescent, the cross, the square, the triangle. And then we have the planets. And now look at this. Now you can see all the planets and those different symbols we talked about. But what is most interesting is the zodiac and the tarot. And there's the human body. And we've talked about Capricorn represents the knees, Aquarius, ankles and blood. And so we have this wonderful symbol. And of course, all of this is on my little website, Gates of Light. And then we have the zodiac with all of the different rulings. And one other book that is good is Mother Ruth's Stars of Heaven. Sorry to say that won't be out till August, but you can get the Stars of Heaven if you want to get it ahead, but it's not printed by us. And it is at the Science of Man. But if you wait until the end of August, we'll have it as a book on Amazon. But the Science of Man still carries these. And it also carries the tarot cards in the heavier stock, in the 20-pound stock. So I'm thinking now, let's see if I can stop share. It's a lot of information, I know. It's an introduction, and most of it is just to let you know the fun things we have to do. There's a lot to cover, but on the other hand, once we start doing the cards, each card has a little story, and it relates to each person, and that's what's most important. Having a feeling that about the symbols and how they relate to the human body also helps you understand that you can change your body as you move toward becoming light. And as you learn about the tools you have in your toolbox, and then you can have a much more gracious, happy, pleasant life. The use of this subconscious mind by the conscious mind to create your perfect world means that your conscious mind has to have an underlying premise that is accurate, correct, truthful, before it directs your subconscious mind to deliver that to you. And as I always say, like Amazon on steroids, you get everything. I just love the fact in this age we have Amazon, so I can use it as an example, because if you, I mean, seriously, people go, I prayed and then I prayed again and I wasn't sure. And I said, you know what you do? You take your prayer, put it on a sticky, put it on your altar, and then give it to God, and then go about your business and have an ice cream. And let God do it, because as soon as you think it, it's happening. God loves us more than we love ourselves. And we start to learn about the grace of God, which is our Master Jesus Christ coming and placing himself here as grace. So we have karma, yes. We stub our toes on a regular basis, but we do have karmic situations that happen, and they come back and haunt us. And one of the wonderful things is there's a little thing called grace or epigenesis, that you're never back where you started from. You always go in a circle, but you're always in a spiral. So you could, even if you tried to go back to a previous life, you couldn't fit into that body. You couldn't fit into that vehicle. It is useless, because your consciousness has evolved so that that wouldn't work. You wouldn't be able to fit in there. It just would crack. So you're here now. When things don't work out, there's always that little grace that will pick you up and take you over that last rock that you were stumbling over. You don't know why, but that happens. As you start to turn your direction using your will and choosing every day toward a greater reality of trust and faith, the grace grows in your life. And you end up living in a state of grace. You can't even get hit by a car and anything happen to you. I just want to mention that these things happen. So keep in mind, that's what the tarot teaches. How do we pick up our tools? We are the magician. Right after the Fool is the magician card, right there in the corner. And he's looking, he's got his hand raised. So he's identifying that he, in his right hand, hand of power, in his right hand, it's a tube. The wand is hollow, and he's signifying that power is coming down, because above means within. It comes down. He has not picked up his tools yet. He hasn't learned how to operate them yet, but he's already signifying He knows where his source is. Then we go to the next card, which is the High Priestess. And we learn about remembering who we are. And then we go to the Empress, and she's pregnant, reproductive, pregnant, and all green and copper. And then we go to the Emperor, and he's beneficent reason. And the next step is the Hierophant, the teacher. And that's when we connect inside and are taught from inside. So the cards build. You first learn about the tarot by doing them in a certain order. Then you can fiddle around with them at any time and put, different cards together to create and understand from within yourself what's in front of you. So that's it for now. Till next week.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Very
I've
good.
enjoyed it. I know I went a little fast because it's a lot of sort of starting material. But it's all on my little Gates of Light, and it's gates-of-light.com, traveling through the tarot. But other than that, it'll be fun. And then we can start having questions about each of the cards, because I just wanted to get through the basics. And so next week will be just those 3 topics, and then we'll start on a card. See how you do.
Mark,
Okay,
thank
everyone.
Great.
Thank you. I'm glad you came.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to next week and seeing all of you. Take care, everyone. Love to you all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.